Hello, everyone. Welcome to the FutureDDS Dental School Experience Series, where we help you decide which dental school is right for you. Every school is unique and will provide a different experience, and who better to explain what that school has to offer than a student who goes there. Our goal is to give you a first-hand perspective of every dental school across America and ultimately help you make the right decision. Today, we'll be showcasing Ms. Alicia Briscoe, who is a rising second-year student at University of Maryland School of Dentistry. How you doing today, Alicia?
I'm good.
Good. Well, first, let me say thank you for joining us. Take some time out from your study schedule and everything to really sit down and kind of explain your perspective and give us a little perspective on your school.
Yeah, I'm all here for it.
Thank you. So, if you could, just reintroduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about yourself, where you went to undergrad, if you did a master's, where you did that, and then, of course, like what got you into dentistry.
Okay, so I'm Alicia. I went to University of Maryland, College Park. I actually applied during my junior and senior year, so I did not take a gap year. During that time, I did several things that I thought were pretty instrumental and held a lot of weight for me, just in my personal journey and even in my dental school journey. So I guess for one, I did research, which was something that I guess my pool of applicants didn't really do, from what I've heard from interviewers and things like that. So I did research with crickets, which was pretty interesting. We were kind of looking at their segmentation patterns and things like that. And it was like bench work, so I had to put my hands in the crickets and that whole thing, which was really interesting. And then I did psychology of evil kind of research. So in the psychology department. And so that was more like surveying good deeds and how they affected each person individually and things like that. So that was more like not in person, just reading papers and just documenting. Another really good experience that I had was going to Honduras, actually, not this January, but the January last time, like in 2018. Mm-hmm. And so that was my first time really doing hands-on dental work. So we went to Honduras. I went to a kind of rural area of Honduras for a week. And the dentists that were there were like, okay, you guys need to classify the teeth, tell us what we need to do. Things like that, which was something I never really got in shadowing in a US, dentist. Right. So that was really interesting. And I really liked that. And that kind of really solidified for me that I definitely want to do something like that in the future, like do annual trips to, different countries, because oral healthcare is not accessible to many people. So I definitely want to implement that. Let's see, what else? I wanted to do dentistry because I did the whole journey. Like I wanted to be a storm chaser, which was really strange, but my mom was like, no, don't do that. So my mom was like, no. My mom's actually in the dentistry field. And so she kind of put the idea out there, but I was like, okay, like let me figure this out first. And she was like, okay. So I did the whole, medicine thing. And then I was like, okay, I'm a little too emotional for that. So, and I wanted more, control over my schedule. And I wanted to be my own boss type of thing. So I was like, okay, let me listen to what she has to say a little bit. And I just realized how much of an impact you can have on someone's life in a holistic kind of way, like emotionally, mentally, and physically, which is something I guess people don't really think about when they think about, oh, this is dentistry. For people that aren't interested in dentistry, they don't really think about things like that. Right. But that really intrigued me, and you can just leave a lasting impact on someone, even though it may be seemingly pretty small, but it's just amazing. So I love it so far.
Man, that's awesome. So it seems like you had a quite elaborate journey to dentistry, but you found your way there, and that's awesome. Yeah. But so if you could just give us a little bit more general information about your school, University of Maryland, exactly where it's located in Maryland, how is that city for you, as well as how big is the class size? That's a little bit of demographic information.
Right. So University of Maryland is located in Baltimore, which is the largest city in Maryland. And actually, my school is the first dental college ever. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah. It has a sort of prestige to it. I have 129 people in my class, which is kind of on the larger side, which is still fine. I love the city. Well, I'm not really a city girl, but it's actually pretty cool because the Raven Stadium's right there. The Royal Stadium's right there. Inner Harbor, John Hopkins is nearby. Also, the 6 other professional schools are in close proximity to each other, so we can kind of cross paths with them. So that's cool. And also DC is close to Philly, which is like 2.5 hours away, close to DC, which is an hour away. So it's like in the heart of a whole bunch of things. So I really like.
Yeah, definitely. I can relate. You know, it's the hometown, so.
Oh yeah.
Special place in my heart. So.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. So, what were some of the things that went into your decision making on what school you want to go to when you were making the short list of schools to apply to, and then ultimately what helped you choose Maryland over every other school?
Right. So I think at the very top of my list was diversity. I noticed at a lot of other schools it wasn't extremely diverse, but actually Maryland's third most diverse dental school behind Harry and Howard, which was really awesome. I didn't know that till like this year, but I liked that. And I think just having a diverse class is really important for, just comfortability purposes, but also for like your future patients, because you interact with, your different classmates who come from different backgrounds and things like that. And then you'll be able to apply it to your patients eventually. So it's like a win-win. Also like cost was important. In-state tuition for Maryland isn't that high. I think it's like $28K per semester, which is like radically different than out of state. So that's good if you're in state. You can also have the opportunity to get in-state tuition. So that's also a plus. Let's see what else. I also just the prestige of being the first dental school. I feel like there's so much history behind it that, they started from the very, very beginning, and you just get to see how it's evolved and where it's going to end up going. So I kind of enjoyed and hold value to that. So I feel like those 3 things are really important to me. And also I guess like student to faculty ratio was important as well. And yeah, that's what I would say were pretty important. And also like I didn't realize lighting was a thing until my interview. And I was like, wow, Maryland's pretty bright. Like there's a lot of windows. Yeah. So that was also a thing I noticed in my interview. So yeah, those things were pretty important.
Cool. So speaking of your interview, let's just backtrack, rewind a little bit to your actual interview process. How was the interview day at Maryland? If you could just walk us through how that day was and kind of the feel you got while you were there.
Okay. So the interview day, it's just one day. You come in and you're kind of guided up to this big, I guess, conference hall, and they give you a few talks about, the history of the dental school, about, cost, like the typical like informational session. And then you're assigned to a group. And so some groups go do their interview in the morning and some go a little bit later. So I remember I was in the morning, and so I had the interview first, then I had the school tour, while the other group would kind of flip. And so for the interview, it was very conversational. Sometimes interviews can get really like scary and like you kind of tense up and things like that, but they were definitely very interested in, who I was. I don't think they even asked me a dental question the whole time.
No.
So they were just trying to like, kind of gauge what kind of person I was, kind of like social skills more so than, because I feel like they already know what kind of grades you have, what kind of like your academic portion, but they don't really get to see that other portion. So they were kind of testing the waters in that. But I mean, they asked like some like diversity questions, like, oh, what do you think diversity is important? Like, what have you seen, like type of thing. Right. But other than that, it was just very conversational. What do you like to do? How do you de-stress? Things like that.
Okay.
And then you had the opportunity to talk to faculty, talk to other students during the tour and things like that.
So it seems to be pretty relaxed. That's good. Make you feel at home. So once you actually, gained that acceptance, you got that letter, that email, you were super excited. Obviously, how was it, that transition? How was that transition to start school, going through orientation, actually getting into the course load? And then, how did you kind of settle into the coursework and really get settled into dental school?
Okay. The transition was, I wouldn't say it was easy,
Okay.
because initially it was okay. So the first few months, it was kind of like, okay, they were easing you into it.
Mhm.
Like you had like a month or so to study for the first exam, and then literally November hit, and like it just was like like a fire hydrant, and you just had to kind of tread water. But so the transition was okay, and like we had a pretty good transition time. But then once that November hit, it was like tread water, save yourself. But it was fine. Like over time you get used to how much work it is that you're just like, okay, it's kind of like routine. You're just like, okay, next exam, next exam, next exam. More so than, you know, being stressed about it. You're just like programmed to do it. And also you just, you know, have to figure out ways to kind of relax. Make sure you take time for yourself, whether it's a day or the weekend or whatever. For me, it's like taking one day, I think on Saturdays, I usually do for myself, that where I don't study, I just hang out with friends, catch up on shows, things like that. Um, but yeah, I feel like you can't really like prepare for dental school, but you just gotta take it. Just take it. And once you just accept that this is like a lot of work, then I feel like you end up, you know, just going for it, and actually you end up being a little successful. You're smarter than you think you are, which is definitely something I learned. So
Right, that's
yeah.
so true. And speaking on, you know, taking some time for yourself,
Right.
mental health is a really big aspect of
Very
the
important.
dental field, in the medical field, and everything. How exactly, if any way, does the school kind of help you as a student, you know, get through with your work life balance and kind of managing the workload that you do have?
Right. Um, we have this thing called the Po Cup, which is like like a sports competition between all the different schools. I'm on the volleyball team, so we were competing with like the law school, the med school, um, like different teams, even upperclassmen. So that was cool, and so it's like a fun, friendly competition. We also have like, you know, little cookouts sometimes in the fall, you know, just to decompress, and like they'll bring speakers outside, and you know, just doing like we have formal like little dances, um, and you have counseling sessions if that's like like therapy, I guess, if you need to just talk to somebody, that's available. So they're really big on mental health, and like I said, they asked that actually in the interview, how do you de-stress? Um, so there's like some avenues, but a lot of people, you know, typically just, you know, find who they hang out with in the class, and we all go out or go with friends or do things that they typically did in undergrad.
Okay,
But there are some opportunities that the school does provide.
cool, cool. So if you could, you know, again, take us back to that first week or so, or really just all first year. If you could walk us through what a typical week at dental school looks like, you know, take us through the curriculum and how you transition into clinic as a first year student.
Okay. So first year, it's basically in the fall semester, it's 8 to 5.
Yeah.
So it's a very long day. We take gross anatomy class and lab, uh, dental anatomy. So that has like waxing in it. So you have to stay after class and wax and practice that and take it home and wax. We also have operative lab. So that all kind of happens at the same time. So it is a lot of work. Um, because you have to take time after to practice. You have to go do class to practice,
Oh,
um, things like that. And another cool thing about Maryland is that our lectures are recorded. So that's really helpful. If like you're a like auditory learner, you can listen at home or listen in the car, things like that. Um, so it's a pretty long day,
yeah.
100%.
Dental school,
um,
yeah.
yeah, it's like a really long day, and you're basically in one classroom. Like the D1s literally have just one classroom that we're always in. Yeah, so 8 to 5. We start kind of clinical stuff. Well, if you consider operative clinical, so we start drilling on the typodonts and things like that towards the end of fall semester, and then throughout spring semester, and then we start introduction to periodontology, which was really cool because we actually got to practice probing and scaling on each other.
Nice.
So that was our first like classmate interaction partner type of thing. But other than that, we haven't really had a whole bunch of clinical opportunities. They haven't been pressing us to do any shadowing or assisting of the upperclassmen, because I don't even think we're allowed to yet.
Okay.
But definitely this year we are. And then spring semester kind of lightens up a little bit because gross lab ends and that took a lot of time. Took a lot of time, but yeah, spring semester lightens up, and then you basically take 20 classes or so.
Do y'all
Yeah,
have like an integrated system, or is it all block style?
it's some classes are all year long, some classes are a semester long, some classes are a few weeks long.
Okay.
So it kind of just like changes throughout the semester. It's not really like solidified, and
Do you
each
have
each week.
I was about to say, do you guys do it like basically by systems, or do you have like a whole histo course, a whole biochem course, a whole, or like you said, it just varies? Like, do you have like a cardio course, or
No,
like?
just very.
Okay, okay,
Yeah. I mean,
wow,
each week, like it's not like you can't print out one schedule and then just follow that for X amount of time. You literally have to look at the schedule every single week because it changes every week.
wow, wow. That's
Yeah.
interesting. That's cool. So
Yeah.
I guess for anyone out there, say I'm a pre-dent and I'm looking to apply to University of Maryland, what would you
Mhm.
suggest that I start focusing on now that would put me in the best position to get in and also succeed once I do get in?
Okay. I would recommend taking all the recommended courses in addition to the prereqs.
Okay.
I mean, it helps a little bit because you get introduced to it, and it's only like 5% of what you're gonna learn, but that's still 5% more that like you have to learn because it's already a lot within itself. So I would definitely say take prereqs plus the recommended. Also do things that you like to do because like I said, they ask a lot about what do you like to do, what makes you diverse, and people get so freaked out about the diversity question, but it's like, okay, it's outside of ethnicity, it's outside of religion, like it's like what it makes you distinct from everybody else, like what makes you you. So I would definitely say do things that are outside of dental. Like if you like knitting, knit. If you like, you know what I'm saying? Like do things that you like to do because they're going to ask you about it.
Right.
Because the more diverse you are, the better you can connect with your patients and the more comfortable they'll feel by just, being like, oh, I like knitting, you like knitting, cool, I trust you, kind of thing.
Right.
Um, I would also definitely say if you can do an abroad trip, like a broad volunteering trip, I would definitely do that because it's extremely meaningful and you get to really kind of see what the health disparity thing that people keep talking about, and how important it is and will be in the future when you are eventually in your career. What else? Let's see. Shadow as much as you can. Um,
That's a big one.
Definitely, yeah, shadow. I would definitely say do a little bit of research because you'll have opportunities to do research in dental school if you would like to. And especially if you want to specialize, they're going to ask you about that. Um, what else? I think those are probably the big ones. Just being yourself, take as many classes as you can, and you know, travel if you travel to do dental stuff.
Got you, got you. So we're gonna start wrapping it up here. Got a few more questions though. So at University of Maryland, what are some? I mean, I know you only have one perspective because you're only a student there,
Right.
but what are some major advantages or some unique things about Maryland that you feel you wouldn't want to change about your experience so far? And it
I
could
still
be
feel.
just things you already like spoke on, but or if you want to add something new, but just some things
Mhm.
you want to reiterate that make your experience at Maryland extremely unique and you feel our advantages.
Right. I still feel like the diversity thing is super important because you come across people that you may have never come across in your life from all types of walks of life. So just talking to, your classmates about different things, like their views about, X, Y, and Z, or why do they do certain things, can just help you, when your patients come, because they're Baltimore, you will get all types of different people. For 100%, you'll get a whole bunch of different types of people that you may have never come across before dental school. So that will just help you better apply, your knowledge to your patients so that they'll feel more comfortable around you, and you'll kind of understand why, some patients have, a more tendency to have this kind of problem versus another. So I would definitely say the diversity is super, super big for me. So.
Awesome, awesome. So this is the last question. So just want you to offer any words of advice that you would have, not necessarily for anyone specifically looking at University of Maryland, but just anybody on the dental school journey that may be struggling or just looking for some extra, extra kick to help them get them to the finish line.
Yeah. So I would say when you're applying, apply as soon as you can, like probably, you know, July or June. I applied in July, and then because interviews start happening in like October type of, you know, time frame. So you want to be in that first wave of, you know, people who get interviews. I would say for, you know, pre-dentals who are kind of feeling down about themselves while they're trying to get to where I am is just, you know, keep pushing. You know, if you're passionate about it, you know, you're going to keep trying no matter whether you get in the first time, second time, fifth time, doesn't matter. You just want to keep pushing. You can do it. You can do it. We all have done it.
We'll do it.
We'll do it, and it'll be okay, and it'll be a lot, but you're going to get through it. I would also just say, you know, at the interview, when you get an interview, because it's going to happen, just be yourself, you know, let your personality show through, because everybody wants to see, you know, that you're a, you know, well-rounded person, that you're social, that you're going to be good to talk to, because I feel like dentistry is trying to make it become a more social kind of environment and kind of change the stigma of like, oh, the dentist is scary.
Right.
So just be yourself, do things that you like to do, and you can do it.
There we go. That's great advice, great gems for all the viewers out there and everybody on their pre-dental journey trying to get into that seat just like you. Awesome.
Right.
If I'm a pre-dental student and I want a little bit more information about University of Maryland, is there any way that they can get in touch with you or the website? Like, I guess what would be the best means to get some questions answered?
You can definitely hit me up on my Instagram, on my Facebook.
And what's your Instagram, real quick?
It's like HEY_ITSALICIA. So it's it's Alicia.
Okay, there we go.
With 2 A's at the end.
Awesome. So
yeah.
Alicia, y'all heard it first. She's giving out some great wisdom, some great words of advice. If you have any questions about University of Maryland, make sure you hit her up. Send her a DM. She is clearly open to answering any questions that you may have. But again, Alicia, thank you for taking some time out for sitting with us and really doing a great job explaining about what University of Maryland has to offer and your experience there so far. So definitely want to say thank you. Thank you on behalf of FutureDDS and all the viewers out there.
Yep. No, you're welcome.
Cool. So again, I like to say to everyone out there, if you're on your journey right now, make sure you're tapping into the rest of the series, because we're going over every dental school across America. And I'm sure if Maryland may not be the school for you, it may be, but if not, make sure you're watching all the different schools. Of course, I'm sure you put it on your list now that Alicia has convinced you, but definitely. But make sure you're tapping into the rest of the dental school experience series, because again, we're going over every school, and we just want to help you make the right decision on what school is going to be best for you. But again, thank you, Alicia. Best of luck to you heading into second year. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell so you know whenever we post up new content. But till next time, see you later.
Bye.